It's time we check in and see just what we accomplished with our first sub $80 case. Hey folks, welcome to the wrap-up video for the Meshify C, the first in our sub $80 case builds. Now, the whole idea is to show you what you can accomplish on a budget. You know, not spending $300 or $400 on a case and hundreds of dollars on materials, but to keep it all reasonable, do a couple of nice little mods and come up with something that you'd be happy to have on your desk. So what we're going to do is not worry about the hardware, but mainly look at the mods we've done and how they all string together to make a nice solid build at the end of the day. First off, we went in and we painted the front grille of the case, which was pretty simple with some airbrushing. Finding the correct color to keep it Nvidia themed was a bit difficult, but if you are going with any other color, this is super easy because you can basically grab a can of spray paint off the shelf of your hardware store and boom, you've got a colored grille. The angling on this front mesh panel really comes out nice and throws light in different directions, so that made it look even better than I thought it would. Next up, I painted the SSD tray and the power supply cover. Now the SSD tray really wasn't super necessary because you can't see it, although I was planning on doing more with it. But it is nice to have that little extra that in a build where it ties, you know, the back side of the build into the rest of the mod. So if you ever do have to pull that back panel off and somebody sees it, it looks like you've gone that extra mile to make more of a cohesive mod. So I do like the bonus of that. And then the power supply cover is just a nice big block of color inside the build. It keeps it from getting too busy, it brings our color inside, and really gives a nice stage for everything to sit on. While I was installing the hardware, I went ahead and modded the case for a vertical GPU mount. Now I've done videos on this before and did not include it with this series. It's a very easy mod with a little bit of aluminum and some cutting tools, so I really suggest you go check it out. But what that does is it shows off our GPU. I mean, that's really what part of this is about, is showcasing our hardware. So this puts it up front and center. And I would suggest that if you are going to do something with a vertical GPU mount, you find something that uses your PCI slots. Otherwise, you can wind up too close to that side panel and it can actually hurt the cooling of your GPU. But this way it shows off our GPU and we've got tons of room for airflow, so it really adds to this mod and really came out nice. While I was installing the hardware, I did slip in an LED strip to show off our hardware more, since this tempered glass panel is tinted just a bit. So that does add a little bit to the build and really makes everything pop when it's on. I also painted the RAM heat spreaders and made an M.2 drive cover. And although I'm not using the RAM heat spreaders because I'm doing something different with those sticks of RAM and you can't see the drive cover, it is one of those bonuses that completes the mod. It's in there and you have to look for it, but it does give it that finished feel. And to finish it off, we etched that tempered glass panel. Now it really surprised me at how easy that mod was and how much it really adds to the finished look. It looks super just professional now. So definitely something that I'm happy I tried and will be doing much more of. Overall, I'm really happy with how this came out. I think it's very clean. It's almost something you'd expect to find on a shelf in a store somewhere. And it's very customizable. So even though I went with an Nvidia theme, you could easily choose your own color and your own logo to put on the side and personalize it to your own taste. So for the small investment of like an $80 case or $90 case and the little bit of materials that we used, I think this really shows that on a budget you can really come up with a great mod. On our next sub $80 case mod, the InWin 301. I thought it'd be bigger.